What position groups on this Auburn football team are you the most confident in? Let's talk about it on this live edition of the Uptempo podcast. Let's go. What's up, Auburn family? What's up, Uptempo gang? Dustin Smith and Blake Lane with a Tuesday night live edition of the Uptempo podcast. We're going to get in here and rank the offensive position groups from 5 to 1. 5 being what group we're least confident in, and number 1, the group that we are the most confident in. Blake, I'm excited to get here tonight with you, buddy. It's been a little bit since me and you have been able to link up and talk some football, my guy.
Yeah, Dustin, man, I've been super busy. Went out of town last weekend, going out of town this weekend. So, look, for all Auburn baseball fans, tomorrow night we will watch the game against South Carolina, and then we'll probably recap it like late Sunday night. So, if you catch it Monday, that's fine. I am going down to Orange Beach, Alabama this weekend. So, yeah. It's going to be another busy week for me, but I'm glad we could fit this one in here. And we're getting to talk some Auburn football. The talking heads, they're giving Auburn a lot of praise, Dustin. I keep seeing some preseason top 25, post-spring top 25 stuff, and everybody seems that they like Auburn, So I feel the confidence. Like I see the coach being a little bit more confident. I see Hugh Freeze carrying himself a little differently this year. And I think the players have a little bit more confidence, especially on the defense. And you're hoping Jackson Arnold pans out on the offense. And I think this is the year that you can't talk no more. You got to prove it. You got to show up. You got to let the pads play, man. And I think 5-7 just ain't cutting it. It ain't cutting it. 6-6 ain't cutting it. Losing bowl games ain't cutting it, Dustin. So we got to get after it, man. And it starts right now, right after spring, going into summer, and then workouts and all that, and fall practice and all that good stuff, man.
Yeah, our guy Mike G sat down with Hugh Freeze. If you have not watched that interview over at the Warport, go do that. And I just got to say, I got to give it to Mike. Wasn't a puff piece type interview. Mike asked him some hard questions, and I got to give it to Hugh Freeze. He answered them honestly, and he echoed what you just said there, Blake. He said, year 3, I know I got to win. He said, we left 3 or 4 games on the table last year, and I can't continue to do that. Things have got to be better. So really excited, man, to get in here and have this conversation with you. We are going to do this for the defensive side as well, later on, but we're going to stick to the offensive side tonight. Like I said there in the intro, we're going to rank them confidence ranking. We're going to start with our most least confident to what we're most confident in. And this is not, for me anyway, I'll speak for Blake. It's not, for me, it's not a projection. For me, this is where it's sitting today.
Yep.
Where I'm sitting at today. Could it change? Will it look different at the end of the season? For some of these, I hope so. Specifically quarterback, hope it looks a little bit different. Before we get started, man, you guys please hit that thumbs up button, sub if you haven't, and share it out on social media. We're a little bit of an early start this afternoon, so people might not see. I know an hour ago I got the YouTube notification for the Mike interview with Hugh. I'd already watched it, YouTube, so I know how these notifications can be. So do us a favor, man. Share this on social media and all that. And if you're watching on the replay, you can do that as well. It would help us out a ton. So let's get started. And Blake, we kind of have the same list. Everyone that watches knows that me and you see the footballs a lot alike. And so let's get right in here and start. Me and you both agree, least confident tight end, the tight end position. Luke Deal, who feels like he was in that room for 17 years, he moved on. Rivaldo Fairweather, who I thought was going to have a much better season last year than he did. Kind of a down year for him. He got signed by the Cowboys. I think he could have a productive career in the NFL if he gets it all figured out. But there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of questions looking at this tight end room. I think your best player, Blake, your most confidence in, is coming off of a significant injury. And there's just a lot of questions. And for me, it's really lack of depth. And I talked about before spring, I said that Hollis Davidson was one of those freshmen that I thought could make a big impact. And I was saying that because of the bodies that were in this room, and I think he's going to be a good player. It turns out he's hurt and he missed all of spring.
Yep.
So I got to kind of readjust that expectation. I think it's going to be a little bit into the season and might not even see him as much as I was anticipating at all. So for me, dude, there is just a million questions in this tight end room, and I don't know who's going to answer them.
Yeah, that's the thing is there's nothing there right now. You know, I mean, you got Frazier, but like you said, he's coming off of a significant injury, and after him, you got what Preston Howard, the transfer, and I mean, he's more of a blocking tight end. You know, I don't think he filled it up, you know, receiving and so
Right.
there's just it's a hard room to sit there and look at and say, okay, I'm confident in that room, and we know how the tight end position has been the past few seasons for the Auburn Tigers. And look, Rivaldo was, you know, he was great, but I feel like last year I'm with you. He could have been a lot better, and in order for him to figure it out in the NFL, man, he's got to start bringing the ball in. He dropped a lot of balls last year, a lot that I thought he should have had. Now, granted, he did make some great plays and some plays that we'll remember. I know the play against Vanderbilt where he single-handedly put us on the board there. But this room is thin, and if Brandon Frazier goes out with an injury again, boy, that's why I'm not really
Yeah.
hyped up on the tight end room, because you're super thin, and I'm not seeing a lot there unless, like you said, one of these freshmen step up. I think that could happen. And did Rico Walker officially enter the portal?
Yes.
Or he did? Okay, yep.
Yes.
So there you go. I mean, it's just super thin, man.
You know, a lot of people, whenever we did our CBM episode, they were saying, well, isn't it hypocritical that you're being hard on Chad Baker Mazzara, but in the same breath, you're praising Janai Broom when both of those are transfers? And I'm going to present this
Yeah,
example right here. I say nothing about Terrence Love transferring out of that DB room because there is bodies there, and I understand that he wants to go somewhere where he can get reps, and guys came in that are better than him. I look at the tight end room and I ask Micah Riley Dudker, what the hell were you doing?
yeah, great point.
Your reps are right here. You've been here, you've been waiting, you've been developing in this room. It's your time. And
Yeah.
that's when you make the move. Okay.
And I
Okay.
I felt like he was the guy that showed a little chippiness too when he did get
Yeah.
on the field. He showed a little guts. He made a couple plays when he did get in there, you know. So I'm with you, man. That was a shocker to see him go. Where did he end up? Nebraska or
No, went A&M. Went to
A&M? That's
A&M.
right. That's
Yep.
right. That's right. A&M. Yep. Yeah, that's shocking, man. That is shocking. It's just not right now for me. It's nothing there. It's paper thin. Somebody's going to have to step up. And like we said, we're not saying that we don't believe in Frazier. He's just coming off that injury, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. You know, so that's why I got him at 5.
Yeah, I didn't expect Micah to do that. Rico, same thing. It's like you guys are kind of waiting your term. I know he transferred in from Maryland, but yeah, that leaves us thin. There's a lot of questions there. You've got the 2 freshmen coming in, and Hollis Davidson, who missed the spring, like I mentioned, with the injury, and then Ryan G, who's more of a blocking
Yep.
tight end, more of that Luke Deal role. So we'll see how it goes, man. I will say this: Hugh Freeze doesn't seem to be too concerned about it. Let me ask you this, Blake. In certain scenarios, do you think that Perry Thompson could run some of the what Rivaldo Fairweather was running?
Mm,
There's been some talk of it.
maybe, yeah. I just think Perry, man. I think he's going to be out there. You know,
Yeah.
well, hell, I mean, Rivaldo was. Look,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
junior year, Rivaldo was playing receiver, dog.
Yeah.
Like,
That catch first cow was on the outside.
yeah. So, I mean, that's how bad. You know, I don't
Yeah,
want
for
to go back
sure.
down that
For
road. That's
sure.
how bad we were. But,
For sure.
boy, for your receiving core to be that bad, where you got to look at your tight end and say, "Hey, you're our go-to guy, brother, and we got to split you out here." Um, yeah, that's how bad it was. So, look, man, I got high hopes for Perry, but I'd really just feel like one of these young cats have got to step up, injury free. Hope, and pray that we're good there, and hopefully Frazier comes back and he has a great, you know, some say 16th year, but we'll go with 6, and hopefully he can be a leader in that room.
I'd feel a little bit better if Hollis got to go through spring.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
That's a tough one for us. On to number 4, Blake. Number 4, quarterback. And this is one where if Auburn's going to have a good season, it's going to have to be better than 4. But I think me and you're on the same page here, right? You got to show me something before I put you into number 1. You got a true freshman coming in Deuce Knight, who we like what we saw this spring, but he hasn't taken a rep yet. And when you look at Jackson Arnold, we have high hopes, but there's reasons being stated as to why he struggled at Oklahoma, but he struggled at Oklahoma. So until I see it all pan out, I got a lot of questions.
That's where I'm at. I'm with you, and I think that's why our list is right on the head, right? Is because I can't put quarterback just off of hype. I can't move it up my list just off of somebody creating a graphic and saying that, he's the 7th best quarterback in the SEC or the 5th best quarterback in the SEC. I can't. You got to show me. And there was a fumbling problem at Oklahoma last year. Granted, I know everything he went through. I get it. Like, injuries happened. The offensive line was a mess. No receivers. This isn't a Jackson Arnold thing for me. It's I have to see you perform before I get that confidence. Now, you're going to have the opportunity right out the gate with Baylor on a Friday night at Baylor. So you got to show me. And I love what we have in the room. The expectations are high. Hell, he's a former 5-star, number 1 quarterback in his class. Deuce Knight, the kid you got coming in, 5-star. He showed how talented he is. Had a great spring. Ashton Daniels, coming over from Stanford, played a lot of college football. There's a lot of talent in the room. But I just got to see you go out there and perform. And hopefully at the end of the year, number 4 here at the quarterback position is bumped up on our list to 1 or 2. Right, Dustin? I think that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
But I can't just go off of hope. I got to see it on the field first. And the past 2 years with Peyton Thorne and Hugh Freeze, I can't take that jump and put quarterback any higher on my list. I can't. Because I just don't know how it's going to pan out.
Yeah. It's like, I think for me, some of this starts at coaching as to where, a guy like Bruce Pearl has earned your trust. So if Bruce Pearl brings in a guy from the portal, your initial thought is going to be, okay, well, Bruce will find the way to use him, put him in the right position, and he'll get the most out of him. Based off of what we just saw with Peyton Thorne, I got to see something from Hugh Freeze. So that's part of the equation for me is, will Hugh Freeze use Jackson Arnold? And one or two things is going to be true here. Either Jackson Arnold is the 5-star talent and everything that we saw in high school, and he was just in a situation in Oklahoma that was untenable and you can't win in, which is a possibility. I'm not dismissing it.
Yeah.
Or he's the guy that he played like last year.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find that out. We'll find that out pretty quick. We'll find that out within the first 6 games, because that first 6 games of Auburn's schedule, a lot tougher than those last 6. But by the time we get to that halfway mark, I think we're going to know what it is. And I see some of y'all in the comments saying the offense is going to be so good. Yeah, we're going to get to the parts of the offense that I feel good about. And part of that is Jackson Arnold ain't lacking for weapons. So if there's some struggling going on, then I don't want to hear any of that. I know that they were playing punters at wide receiver in Oklahoma and all that. That ain't going to be happening here, buddy. You've got what might be the most talented wide receiver core in the Southeastern Conference. I cannot believe I'm saying that about my Auburn Tigers, but it's the truth. So, you got the weapons, buddy. And again, some of it's going to be on coaching, putting you in the right situations and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, offensive line protecting you and all that kind of stuff. But, for me, Blake, and, everyone's looking at it and they're saying, it's almost this thing of Jackson's got people are thinking he's going to ball out. To me, he's got to protect the football. I think our defense is going to be so damn good, and I think the weapons around him are going to be so good that he doesn't have to play out of his mind. Don't fumble the football like you did at Oklahoma, because, in my opinion, talent around you has nothing to do with you holding on to the ball. I know you're quarterback, you're getting blasted with a makeshift offensive line. In my opinion, you still got to hold on to the football. I understand the interceptions and all that play a little bit more of a part of pieces around you, and they fired their OC. I understand all that, but there's a possibility he's the guy that he showed you he was, and he didn't play well at all. I mean, Oklahoma came into our stadium, beat us, and Jackson Arnold didn't play it down. They didn't even need him to beat us. So he could be that guy, or
Yeah.
Hugh Freeze in this offense could get that 5-star Gatorade Player of the Year and all that out of him, and we're gonna find out, dude.
Dustin, this is why I wanted to pull Williams' comment up. It says, I think Jackson Arnold is the sleeper in the SEC. And he went on to say the offense is too good, right?
Yeah.
Um, my thing here is, William, you said it in your comment, is sleeper. That's why he's at 4 on my list.
Right.
Because he's got to wake up before I can put him any higher. Now, I'm not this Jackson Arnold hater. I'm not one that thinks Jackson Arnold's going to fail here. I've made the comparison of being a guy like Spencer Rattler, where you didn't have it all together at Oklahoma. You transferred to South Carolina, and you put together 2 really solid seasons at Carolina. And it ended up getting him drafted by the New Orleans Saints. And so I'm not saying that Jackson isn't going to get it done. I think he's going to be pretty good in Hugh's offense. I think it's a nice fit, Hugh and Jackson. I think that the RPO and the way Jackson can move around, his mobility, and he can use his legs, and you think back to some of the runs that PT had, man, those are going to be bigger and better for Jackson.
The Georgia won his first year.
Jackson houses that. You remember the 4th and 2 last year against A&M? When Peyton took off, like I think Jackson could turn those into really big plays and some home run hitters, and you watched him run the ball against Alabama. He's really good, man. He's really, really good. You just got to hope the game through the air happens at Auburn with all these weapons. And I get it, man. I'm with you on the sleeper. I think he's going to be good, but he's got to wake up first for me to move the quarterback room any higher than 4. Because then you look past Jackson. Yes, Deuce is extremely talented, but he hasn't played it down in college football.
Right.
So my confidence, it's not just on Jackson Arnold, it's on the whole room. So what if Jackson Arnold, we go to Waco and Jackson Arnold gets hurt, and then we trot Deuce out there? Am I confident in Deuce? Yeah, I am. But I'm still sitting here saying, man, he's a true freshman. He's getting thrown into the heat in the kitchen on a Friday night. I hope none of this actually happens, but it could, and that's where my confidence is at a 4. It's because you got to put those things, you got to put them out there. And yeah, sleeper. Yeah, I get that 100%. Got to wake up though.
And the coaching staff has not made me confident enough, right? Where it's like, you didn't elevate Peyton Thorne. He was pretty much the same guy he was at Michigan State. So, and then we've talked ad nauseum here. We're not going to get into it tonight about the dysfunction on the offensive side of the ball. And so, like, some of those things aren't even in Jackson Arnold's control. But as far as I just look at the quarterback play and I'm like, okay, we've got a coach that we have questions about, and we have a quarterback who we have some questions about. So, like, can it, and Auburn, and again, I don't want people to hear this and say, I'm saying like it's not going to work. It's just, I'm really in like wait and see mode with this. Obviously, I hope it works, and we're going to get into hearing pretty shortly about why it very well could work. But I'm like you, man. I mean, I have to see it happen because it's just there's a lot of questions that go into it.
And I text you this today. I'm not asking Jackson Arnold to be a superstar.
Yeah.
I'm asking Jackson Arnold to stay away from the disastrous mistake. To stay away from the Peyton Thorne mistake. we can go look back at 4 games right now from last year. And yes, I put the Arkansas game on Peyton Thorne is because he was so bad we had to throw Hank Brown into the fire.
Yeah.
Cal, probably Peyton Thorne's worst game ever at Auburn. It was horrible. It was so bad I couldn't stay for the whole thing. Arkansas, yes, terrible. Missouri, you should have won that game. Yes, we dropped the ball in the end zone. I get it. It's still, we should have won that game. You should have beat Mizzou. Vanderbilt, he was horrible. He was horrible.
Yeah, bad.
Just stay away from the disastrous mistakes. Oklahoma, man, yeah, he cost us that one, right? You can't. He almost cost us the A&M game. He tried to give that one away.
You know, I just thought about this, Blake. Me and you talked about this ever since we started doing the show together about wide receiver and running back needing to have those playmakers that can turn the 6 or 7 yard automatic yardage play into 30 or 40 yards. Peyton Thorne didn't have that home run ability. We just made mention to his feet, but also with his arm. If Jackson Arnold hits, then you're hoping with that athletic ability that there can be big plays over the top and big plays with his leg. And with Peyton, it felt like everything had to be a methodical drive. Like there just wasn't these big explosive plays happening unless Jarquez was busting through the line and getting you 40 or 50. But there wasn't a lot of explosive plays coming from the quarterback room, even with Cam Coleman and Keandre Lambert Smith. So for me, it's like, bro, protect the football, make some big plays. And if Jackson Arnold has the exact same stats as Peyton Thorne did last year, passing wise, I expect him to have more rushing yardage. But if he has the exact same passing stats, but he's miles better in the red zone, well, that's 3 more wins right there. I mean, that's Peyton's biggest problem, Blake, was it was the clutch plays. You would look at the stat sheet most of the time and say, how exactly did we lose again? Why does it feel like he sucked when the numbers say he didn't suck? It's because he didn't make any clutch plays. And he did have games, Vanderbilt, Missouri, where he didn't play well from first quarter to fourth. But a lot of times it's like, bro, if you just made 3 or 4 more crucial plays on third down or in the red zone or, you know, a 3rd and 4 versus Oklahoma, then we're not having these conversations. Because the stats, if we go back to before last year, Peyton did exactly what we all said. If he does that, we're good. The example we use on this show, and we brought on Charlie Five, Dukes, Mike, Ike. We brought on everybody from all across the Auburn media spectrum. And I asked every single one of them, if he's Chris Todd, 09 Chris Todd, will you be okay with that? And they all said, yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Damn near the same stats. But he didn't produce on those critical third downs. He was terrible in the red zone. And again, part of that's on coaching, but he didn't make the plays. So to me, that's a big part of Jackson. It's like, brother, the SEC, you know you're going to be in close games, especially with this defense that Auburn's rolling out. Have some juice. That's what I want to see, Blake. I want to see a quarterback with some juice. I don't want to see whatever that was 2 years ago, Peyton Thorne versus LSU, where I'm looking at it and I'm going, do I have a starting quarterback that doesn't want to play Auburn versus LSU in Baton Rouge? Because that's what it felt like. It felt like he didn't want to be there. And I'm not saying he didn't, and I'm not saying he didn't try hard, but the body language and what it looked like outwardly, it looked like he never wanted any part of it. What was it, a critical 4th down where he ran out of bounds and turned the ball over instead of lowering his shoulder? Like, that's got to go. That's got to go because, man, you can look at Jarquez and say, I got a dog. You can look at KLS and say, I got a dog. But, man, when your team realizes that your quarterback's a dog, they all follow. D-line, linebacker. If your quarterback proves he's a dog and he's clutch, it does something to the psyche of your team. I saw it with my Bucks and Baker Mayfield, bro. It turns the whole team into a different dynamic.
And I think Jackson Arnold has that dog. I think he's got that juice. You can go back to the Oklahoma Ole Miss game last year. It was kind of a Bo Nix-ish type feel, like he got blitzed, man coming free. He gave him the little okey doke and spins out of it and runs to the corner, stretches the ball across the pylon, gets in for 7. I think he's got that juice. You know, like I mentioned with some of the tough runs against Alabama last year. I think he's got that dog in him. I do. And what I need from Jackson Arnold is to stay away from the massive mistakes and be clutch. Just don't have the terrible timing of the turnovers and things like that, man. Rely on your defense. This defense is going to carry you. You don't have to play hero ball.
Right.
You don't have to play hero ball. You don't.
Use them legs, baby.
If Auburn can put up, I'm telling y'all this. If Auburn can score 28 points or above, they're going to win a lot of football games.
Sure.
They're going to win a lot of football games. I just believe in Auburn's defense this year, and I think it's going to be absolute hell on opposing offenses. I really do. And I think you're slowly starting to get back to those old Auburn defenses where, you know, I used to say this when me and Dustin first started, y'all. There was something about the Auburn defense where at the point of attack, I wanted them to let the other team know that they were there. I wanted the other team to feel them. And I was like, Dustin, we just ain't got it, man. Like we don't come downhill and hit folks. And boy, last year, I said, Dustin,
Came back.
We're starting to come downhill and hit folks. So I think this defense is going to carry you, and I just need Jackson Arnold to be serviceable, man. And I tell you, we're talking about juice and a quarterback. Give me a 12 out there. Give me a Brandon Cox. All right.
Yeah, man.
I saw his Twitter roll across the timeline, and I said, man, boy, do I miss you. Yeah, I miss the hell out of you because I knew what I was going to get. I was going to get somebody who loved the orange and blue and was going to put it on the line. Just give me that kind of dog, man. Dude put his body on the line week in and week out for Auburn University. And I need Jackson Arnold to step up, man. But I got him at 4 quarterback room because of that. Sleeper, yes, got to wake up. We got to see it in motion first.
Yeah, absolutely. Just too many questions there for me to have it any higher. A couple of comments on this one before we move on. Daniel says, I say you give Jackson 3 games to prove he can do it. And if you can't, let Deuce get in there. Daniel, I'm not going to put a number on it myself. I'm in the kind of the same line of thinking of you. And I'll say it this way. 3 games, 4 games, 5 games, I don't know. If it gets to the point to where Hugh feels like he needs to make that move, if Jackson's struggling, he will make that move this year because he's not in a situation where he can just ride it out for 12 games and then at the end of the season come and go, okay, we got to regroup. We missed on that one. He's not in a position where he can regroup because if he misses on Jackson. So if it doesn't go well, he's going to pivot to Deuce at some point in the season.
And I laid this out a couple weeks ago. I can't remember what episode, or I'd tell y'all to go back and watch it. So I'll lay it out here again. I kind of feel like Hugh is he's in the same situation as Billy down in Gainesville.
Yep.
And where they got clocked by Miami in week 1 and Napier was just like, man, I guess I gotta play him. Yeah. Lagway, you're gonna start getting possessions. We're gonna go Mertz 2 possessions, Lagway 2 possessions. And they did it a couple games, and it kind of, and the offense, and then people were like, hey, man, this Lagway kid, he's better than Mertz. And then Mertz gets hurt. And then Napier was like, well, you're the guy, man. So I hope it doesn't come to that. It could. I think Hugh would pull the trigger. Like you said, I don't know how many games. I think if it started going way south, and you look at those first couple games, man, just say you lose to Baylor and then you lose to Oklahoma, I think then we would start scratching heads and saying, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah. So. Yeah, for sure. Efficient Gaming says, remember, folks, Free said it himself last year. He watered down the playbook because of QBs. Combine that with the kicker being out. It was a nasty combo. Yeah. I agree. My issue with Hugh Efficient Gaming is that he already knew who Peyton Thorne was. So if you brought back a quarterback for the second year and he was your main plan, and you still had to water it down, then it's kind of on Hugh at that point.
Yeah. Dude, I text you today and said, I think we were decent last year. We were
Yeah, for sure.
solid, you
Yeah,
know?
we left some dubs out there for sure.
We left dubs out there, boy. And why? Yeah, kicking was a big part of it. Boy, Alex McPherson. Whew,
Yeah, thank
thank you,
God.
brother. Man, prayers to you. Love to see you back. But man, that quarterback position was brutal. And hopefully it's better this year. And hopefully when we come back to this, they're not at 4 and they're at 1 or 2 when we get done with this.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Auburn was 6-2, right? Maybe 6-3 when Bo Nix got hurt,
Yep.
and then you were up big on Mississippi State, and quarterback play's been dog shit from that moment on.
Yeah.
So T.J. Finley, Robbie Ashford, Peyton Thorne. I mean, so it's just from that moment on, and then Bo goes on and goes somewhere else, and now he's killing it in Denver in the NFL. So, like, yeah, dude, we got to get it. We got to get it right, bro. We got to get it right. All right, let's get on to number 3, and I have some big questions here, but
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic that
Yeah.
this year's version of offensive line could be the best offensive line that we've had in a long time. Here's what I don't like, and I put this in the last member pod that I did. I actually put the O-line as the losers of spring football. And the reason I did that was because it's nothing to do with ability or anything like that. It's that they didn't get to play together.
Yeah.
They were
Great
all
point.
banged up. They were
Yep.
all banged up. And everything you heard coming out of spring ball is we can't really judge the O-line because they're hurt. Connor's hurt. The guys that we brought in, the kid that we brought in from Virginia Tech, he's
Chaplain.
hurt. He
Yep.
doesn't get to participate. I don't like that. Now, could it all be? I'm not saying it's doomsday. I'm not saying it can't be fixed and they won't be fine. I just know that an offensive line needs reps, needs time together. I would feel better about this one. It might even be number 2 for me because I think Connor Lew's going to be a dog. I think Chaplin's going to be a big time addition. I'm certainly hopeful of that. And I think that we definitely, it's not even an argument that this offensive line has more depth than Auburn's had at offensive line in years. I want to see if Carter can bust into the rotation and all that kind of stuff. So like I'm excited about a lot of guys and their potential. Even some young guys like Brody Scholl. I don't know how many reps he gets this year. I bet it's going to be something like DeAndre Carter, where as the season goes on, you're hearing like, hey, Scholl's that guy. You might not see him a lot because he's a freshman or lineman. I like pieces that we have. But yeah, they haven't. You added a guy from USC and Murphy. You added Chaplin in Virginia Tech. Lou, I'm not worried about Lou being hurt.
Yeah.
In the spring because I know he'll be fine. But we know that offensive line is a unit more than any other group in football, which is already the greatest team sport, in my opinion. Everybody's got to do their job. This unit, they don't have any reps together, and they didn't even get a spring together, and they were really banged up. And I'm not going to get on my soapbox for this tonight. I have questions about the offensive line coaching. But this unit has potential to be the best O-line that Auburn's seen in a long time. And I think that we have a guy that's going to play 10 to 15 years in the NFL at center for sure, and Connor Lew. So the pieces are there. Can it all gel? Last year, I thought they were great in run blocking, Blake, and I thought they were god-awful at protecting the pass, especially, and this is for the whole team. As good as our DBs were last year, when did they suck the most? When they had to get a stop. So same thing for the O-line. Ran the ball great. Unless it was a 3rd and 1 we had to have. Then you got pushed around. There was several 3rd and shorts versus Alabama where if you just don't lose, like you don't even have to win your rep, just don't lose your rep.
Yep.
And Jarquez will get the necessary yardage. And they couldn't do that. So the next step for me is obviously pass pro, consistency, and clutch. Like on that 3rd and 1, when you need to get a push, get a damn push because I think our backs are fine. I think they can make the plays if you get in the hole. Jeremiah Cobb only needs a little sliver and he can turn that into 60, 70 yards. So there's a ton of potential there for this offensive line to be really good. We got a future NFL stud anchoring it at center. There's just some questions there, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Like,
I'm with you, and I put them at 3 because of the potential. I really like what they have put together, the talent they have brought in. Xavier Chaplin coming over from Virginia Tech. Look, guys played a lot of football. We heard this last year. and that is my one concern. All right, we heard it with Percy, and Percy was a guy that played in the Southeastern Conference. And we were like, oh, well, he started here. He's played at Mississippi State. Look, Percy was terrible, and that's really where my concern is that tackle spot, right? And I guess you got to look at both tackles. And even with Chaplin, I know he's highly ranked and he was a big get in the portal and all that. But I'm not so much worried about the inside of this offensive line. I'm worried about the outside of this offensive line. And I think we have a chance to be great. I do. I think we have the chance to turn it around and this offense be really good. But it's got to hit. It's got to hit. And last year it didn't, because I heard Percy was a dog. And then 2 weeks before the season started, what did we hear, Dustin? Well, Percy's having some problems.
Tyler Johnson's getting reps.
Yeah. And I'm like, what? And then the Murphy kid from USC, he comes over, and they were kind of high on him a little bit, and then you're seeing, okay, well, he's not doing as good as what they thought. What is Too Tall going to do? Can he get it right? I think we got a chance to be good there, but it's got to come together, right? Like, I don't want to hear no portal hype, and then 2 weeks before the season, everybody's saying, well, Xavier Chaplin, look, here's the deal. He might have to move to guard, and you're like, what? So, I mean, a dude that we were talking about last year that would sure up that tackle spot over there, and 2 weeks before the season, they're saying he's got to move to guard if he wants to play. So, that is my only concern. I tell you this, I think this group's going to be special. I do. I think they're going to be much improved. Water cooler talk, I don't know about top 3 OL in the SEC. Maybe. If they are top 3 in the SEC, get your party hats, and we're traveling somewhere. All right, we might be getting on a jet plane going to play in a college football playoff game. I hope they are, and I think they can be, like you said, with all the maneuvering pieces. Connor Lewis, center. I 100% agree with you. I think that's going to be big too, watching him get drafted for Auburn.
Yeah,
on the offensive line, especially with not being as great as you should be. Throughout the past couple of years, he's been the anchor of that offensive line. So I think that'll be some positive stuff. You mentioned DeAndre Carter. Can he bust through? Can he get reps? Can he get on the field? I know they were talking about him early and often. They were saying, hey, this kid he's taken all the steps to play. And so I think the talent's there, man. And I know you have your questions about coaching and the recruiting and all that stuff. But hopefully they can put all that together. And like you said, semi good on run blocking last year. They had their moments where they were really stout. But that pass pro was brutal. And I think we got to get that fixed ASAP if we want to win a lot of football games.
Yeah, buddy. I tried to Google real quick the last offensive lineman drafted for Auburn, and it popped up that Avery Jones was signed as an undrafted free agent. So Google can't even tell you. It's been a while.
What?
Maybe Driscoll.
It's been a while, man.
It's been a long time. I think that Tyler Johnson.
Chad, hit us up.
Yeah. Guys, let us know. I think for Tyler Johnson, Blake is a guy I'm looking at, and I'm saying, listen, bro.
Okay.
If you can take that next step, because they were confident to play him at tackle early, and so there's obviously something there. If he can become that guy that they think he can be, then that would be huge. If he can lock it up, if he can become an SEC caliber starting tackle, or if he has to be a guard, but like if Tyler Johnson can figure that out, then that's a massive thing for Auburn. And I mean, we've heard about him from a freshman. He was the year before Carter, and you were hearing, hey, Tyler Johnson's doing some nice things, and he wasn't a high recruit and all that kind of stuff. So there's obviously something there. I'm looking at him like, bro, if you take that next step, and if you could be a guy that we could lock up there, that'd be a big help. But because he got his opportunity last year when Percy struggled, and he wasn't good. So my question is it because of how young he was? Redshirt freshman, that's still young for an offensive lineman. Was he just not quite ready? And they were trying it because of Percy was struggling. Can this year be the year where like, okay, now Tyler's ready? I hope so, man. I think it would be big for us.
Mm-hmm.
Getting on to number 2, the running back position, Blake. And we lost our guy, Jarquez Hunter. He goes to, I almost said St. Louis. He went to the Los Angeles Rams. First off, bro, so proud of Jarquez. And
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in a place where he's going to win some games. Like, I
Yeah.
think so. Like, first off, for him just to be on the winning team, he'll be making some playoffs. I'm really happy for him. But Sean McVay knows how to use guys. And so I
Great
think the
spot.
Jarquez, I'm just so happy for him. I think he landed in an awesome spot. And I think he will be used properly. And I'm really excited to see what he can do out there in LA. But you lose Jarquez, you lose your bell cow. And it's going to be different this year because Jarquez was that guy that
Mm-hmm.
could squat 600 pounds in cowboy boots. And he, despite what Hugh Freeze says, I don't ever believe that he actually got gassed. He was a
Hell no.
yeah, yeah. He's a physical specimen, man, and we one of the more talented players to come through Auburn in the last decade for sure. And even one of the better running backs to come through Auburn, and we know how
Yeah.
he just unfortunately he was on bad teams. You put Jarquez Hunter on some better Auburn teams, and his legacy at Auburn's different. Just based off of wins and
Mm.
stuff like that. But it's going to be more of a running back by committee now. And I mentioned how I had O-line as a losers. And again, coming out of spring in our member pod, again, that's more so just because of the injuries and they didn't get to gel as a unit. It's not bashing them as individual players. I had running backs as winners because nobody transferred out. We were
Mm-hmm.
looking and we were saying, is Cobb going to transfer? If Cobb overtakes Damari, will Damari transfer? It appears to me, Blake, like Damari and Jeremiah locked down their roles as the 1-2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I hesitate to even say, like, sure, maybe Damari's the starter, maybe he's listed as the one, but I don't think they're going to be asked to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And going back to that 09 season again, you might be seeing more of a Ben Tate, Ontario McCaleb
Mm-hmm.
type usage of these two guys. And me and you both predicted that Jeremiah Cobb was going to have a breakout season last year, and it just didn't happen because so many of the reps went to Jarquez. So I'm going to repeat everything I said last summer this year. My boy Jeremiah Cobb going to pop. I don't see how he can't if that offensive line does what they're supposed to do and this offense clicks and works. So I feel great about this room. I'm very interested to see what the kid from transferring over from Connecticut.
Robinson. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, an injury in the spring. I hate that, especially when you're learning a new offense. So I don't think he's going to be coming into fall camp. Just he's going to take us some time, is what I'm saying, because you've already got two guys that have been on the roster for multiple years. They're established, and they just went through another spring. And you come in and you miss the spring. You got Alvin Henderson sitting down there as well. Not expecting a whole lot out of Alvin this year. I think would be
Yep.
best for the future of Auburn if you could redshirt Alvin. But hopefully he can still get into those 4 games and progress as the season goes on. But I just like what we have, man. I mean, the big question here is Damari Austin, can you hold on to the football
Mm-hmm.
getting significant more reps this season? Now, he struggled with it. It appears that he got it corrected in the second half of the season last year.
Yep.
But we also weren't handing the ball to him in the way that we were handing the ball to 27. His reps are going to increase now. So can he protect the football? One thing I will say about both of these guys, especially Jeremiah, but Damari, I feel comfortable as well. I like both of these guys on third down a lot, like on passing downs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Jeremiah's a little bit better than Damari at that facet of the game. But I think Damari is a great pass blocker. I think he can catch the ball out the backfield. So I think you have two versatile guys here that you can do a lot with. I like our coaching in the running back room. It's Auburn. It's running back. It should always be stout. If this is not one of our top position groups on offense, Auburn's not going to be clicking. I stand by that. This is a program that's built on running the football. I
Mm-hmm.
still, despite the way the game of football has changed, I look around, I still don't see teams winning NFL, college, or high school that can't run the ball at some point during the season. You're going to have to. They will take
Gotcha.
away. Somebody's going to take the pass away from you. You're going to be in a 3rd and 2 that you got to get. And I know I just talked about it. It goes just as much on the offensive line as your running back room. But I like this room, Blake. I think it's deep, and I like the complement of guys. I think you got guys that complement each other well, that know their roles, and I think that there's going to be kind of a running back by committee, and I like
Mhm.
that. I like that because I look at our versatility at wide receiver. I look at our versatility at running back, and I'm saying maybe the predictability and the added dimension of what Jackson Arnold can do with his legs, the predictability of this year's Auburn offense should not be what it has been the last 2 seasons. Remember how we all had caught on to Gus? We knew as fans
Yep.
because we'd watched every game, and he had been our OC before our head coach. We'd seen a decade of Gus Malzahn on offense. So we'd got to the point where we knew the play when we saw the formation. Hugh's only been here 2 years, and I kind of got to that point last year. Like, this is starting to get pretty predictable.
Yeah.
I mean, same couple of formations, not a lot of versatility here. I think that this offense and this running back room in particular, that shouldn't be an issue this year. You got some guys that can do different things, and they're electric. And 23 should be a problem this year, dude.
I've been saying it.
Yeah,
I,
yeah, we
I
have.
f- I feel like he is ready to explode onto the scene, and I feel like there was some frustration last year. You saw kind of some of the post on
Oh yeah,
Instagram and everything, and I feel like he was getting kind of frustrated. But what I'm excited about is I just watched a team take a two-headed monster in the backfield win a national championship. And they basically laid out a blueprint and said, "Hey, you're both going to be featured. You're both two different running
mm,
backs, and we're gonna just put your talents on display." And they did it with Henderson and Judkins, and Ohio State made it work, and it was awesome. They were electric, both drafted into the NFL draft. Right now, I'm not saying that Damari and Cobb are going to be that explosive and electric, but I think there's a chance where they both pop and have really good seasons, and you're just not solely focused on 27.
right.
Teams just aren't going to be able to key in on 27. And I think Cobb, you have to get the ball to him on jet sweeps, screens, get him out of the backfield, let him get out in space, make plays, things like that, man. I did like some things that we did with Damari towards the end of the last season, getting him on little screens and letting PT get the ball out of his hands real quick to Damari and letting him get upfield, and because Damari can run.
Yeah.
I think that's an underrated part of his game is he can get up and scoot a little bit. Now with the ball handling and all that, I felt like he corrected it a little bit when he did get his hands on the tater. Uh, I think he did cost us that Arkansas game. He put us behind the 8 ball in that one with the fumble out of the back of the end zone and all that. Um, but if you clean that up, I think Damari has a great chance to be a star-studded running back in the Southeastern Conference. You talk about the fumbles. You can go back to the Cal game at Cal. He had a costly one there. He got banged up right there. Got to clean that up. But I think he could tote the load for Auburn. And then, like you mentioned, Cobb, getting him out of the backfield, all that good stuff, letting him be explosive in his own way. I'm not saying they're going to be like this either. I'm not saying it's going to be a Lindell White and Reggie Bush type thing. All right. They're probably not going to be that good. But I think that's how you got to showcase both of their talents. That's how you got to use them. And I think Hugh needs to put a little bit more on these running backs, man. 13 carries to Jarquez Hunter last year was abysmal. And then for you to get in the post game and say that he was tired is absolutely disgraceful. That you say that about a 22-year-old who has a damn 8-pack and chiseled specimen, and you say he's tired. Get out of here, brother. He had 5 days of rest after 273 yards up at Kentucky. Blasphemy. But
Yeah.
I do love the talent in this room. The Robinson kid, breakout season, UConn, all that good stuff, transfers in. Cool, man. I think he could. I think he could serve up like a role of Brian Battie, and
Yeah.
be that guy and be that little spark plug. You can say what you want about Brian Battie, but there was times where he was a spark plug, and he would come. I think that A&M game at A&M, he was a spark plug there. I think Robinson could be that type of guy. And Alvin, I agree with you, man. I think Alvin needs to sit a year. He needs a red shirt, learn, and then come back next season and be ready to take off and be, hopefully half of the player that he was in high school, because I don't think that'll ever be done again. But I am excited about the running back room, Dustin.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you mentioned Robinson, it's a depth thing too. People can
Yeah.
get hurt playing running back in the SEC,
Yep.
obviously. And you got a guy there that you have confidence in. Devin says in Mike's interview, Hugh Freeze said he wants to run the ball more, and his most successful offenses at Ole Miss were pretty balanced, even favoring the run slightly. Hope to see that this year. Yeah, Devin, watched the interview, and I heard what Hugh Freeze said, and I think Hugh was really open and honest. Mike asked him some tough questions to start,
Mm-hmm.
and Hugh didn't run from it and answered, said this is on me as far as the first 2 years win-loss total. So I give him credit for that. I would rebuttal with this a little bit and say, then why, after running for 270 plus yards on Kentucky, did he say in the post game he had to fight the urge to throw the ball? And then Blake just mentioned there was a game where he had 13 carries,
Yeah.
and you're looking at it going, why? So I hear what Hugh Freeze is saying, but he's been our coach for 2 years now, and he definitely has not run the ball at times when I felt like he should be running the ball. So we'll see how it goes.
Third and 4 against Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I don't care what route was open or whatever. 27 gets the football there, and if they stop you, punt it away.
Yeah,
Punt it away.
they
Play
weren't stopping
defense.
him though. They weren't stopping him.
Exactly. They weren't stopping him. Even
Yeah.
with 8 men in the box, they weren't stopping him. Somebody got on Twitter and was like, "Bro, you throw the ball there, you don't know football." And I was like, he was gashing for 7-8 yards a carry. And
Yeah.
I'm the guy where in those situations, Dustin, give the ball to your best player. What happens in the NFL, dog?
Yeah.
What happens in the NFL? Hey, you remember this? 3rd and 5 or 6 against Missouri, game-winning drive for them, for a chance for them to win the football game. And what does Missouri do? Everybody knew where the ball was going. It was going to Luther Burden. Everybody in the stadium knew Luther Burden's about to catch this football. What'd they do? Bang. Luther Burden, first down. Your best player gets the ball in biggest moments, man. What the Eagles do this year? They handed the ball off to Saquon, didn't they?
It worked out.
Okay. Yeah, it worked out really well.
So, yeah.
So won them a Super Bowl, I think. So, yeah, man. I'm just a big believer in your best player gets the football when the game is on the line. And I felt like we got away from our bread and butter. And I feel like we preach on this podcast all the time. Auburn football's bread and butter has always been the run game. And when you look at Auburn football and the legacy and all the heroics and the guys that have come through here on offense, it's at the running back position, man. It's at the running back position. And I never want to see 2 absolute workhorses like Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter. I don't want to see 2 guys come through this program again and have to go through what they went through.
Yeah.
I was sitting down the other night and thought in my head, I said, man, but Brian had Bo Nix, Tank Bigsby, and Jarquez Hunter all in the backfield at once. And we were absolutely god awful. So
Yeah, dude. It's tough, and in the interview that Devin's talking about with Mike today, Hugh said, he said, I just don't like running. He said, I want to run the ball. I don't like running the ball against a stacked box. And I get that. And I hear him. And Hugh Freeze knows way more about football than I do. What I also know is I've watched Auburn win national championships against stacked boxes. I've watched Auburn go to SEC titles with stacked boxes. Everybody, hey, we were handing that thing to Cadillac or Ronnie. Everyone knew it. Didn't matter. You think Kentucky didn't know we were running that ball? Kentucky knew we were running that ball. Didn't matter. And to Hughes, and Hughes said, well, it's because of the stacked boxes. Okay. And then to his comment post-game Kentucky, he's like, it was hard for me not to throw the ball because of how stacked the box was. Did you not almost rush for 300 yards on that stacked box? Like, and look, this yes, I'm partial to the running game because I'm an Auburn fan. And I just the way I view football, I just love, establishing the run and winning that way. But like you said, man, who's my best player and what's working? That's my thing. We won games with Nick Marshall versus Tennessee where he threw the ball 4 times or something, completed like 2 passes. I don't care. And if he had to throw it 40 times, which the offense wasn't the reason that Nick Marshall lost at Alabama that year. But we aired the ball out 50 times that game because that's what was working. Do whatever's working, bro. As long as the sticks are moving, I don't care. But yeah, man, we'll see. You got guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the running back room is super talented. How can you use them? And you've got more than one guy. And like you said, dude, I can't see it anymore. I can't see it. Tank, Jarquez, and now poor old Tank stuck down there in Jacksonville, and they ain't never gonna win nothing. I'm like, oh my god, bro, Tank.
Oh no, man. They're putting something together, but
Jacksonville ain't never gonna win nothing.
Man, Duval, they got Travis. I'll give them that.
They did, and they got a goof as a head coach. But well, it's a story.
I forgot about that. That's why Duval. I still crack up about that.
Yeah, good luck with Liam Cohen. You talk about a transfer portal guy. My guy Liam Cohen has coached at 14 different locations in the last 15 years or something like that. Went to Kentucky, Blake. He left for a year. He came back to Kentucky. When he went back to Kentucky, he said, I want to stay here. My kids are tired of going to new schools every year. I want to establish myself. Then he goes to Tampa in the NFL, has a great year, agrees to a contract to be the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. He says, I'm not going nowhere. I want my kids. We love Tampa. This is a great city. I love coaching Baker Mayfield. This is awesome. I want my kids love the city. I want my kids to go to the same school next year. My kids have never gone to the same school. Tampa's sitting there. He's going to show up at 1 o'clock today to sign a contract. 1:30, no Liam Cohen. 3:30, no Liam Cohen. 5 o'clock, GM calls him. Where you at? My kid's sick. I'm in the hospital. Somebody texts a Bucks GM. He's actually in Jacksonville signing a head coaching contract. Okay. Jacksonville ain't gonna win nothing. And obviously I'm salty about the situation because of my fanhood. I will not deny that. But when you look at that ownership group in Jacksonville and they make these kind of decisions that they make and they employ those kind of people, Urban Meyer, like you see the kind of people they put in. Like I'm just telling you, bro. I feel bad for you, Tank. I feel bad for you. Last group, and Blake, I never thought we would say this.
Yeah.
But hey, man, maybe we should have when Hugh Freeze became the head coach. He said, I'm going to redo this wide receiver room, and he's redoing the wide receiver room everywhere he's gone. We both think this wide receiver room is the group on the offense that we have the most confidence in. And boy, does that say something when you lost a guy like KLS. But obviously, going out and getting Eric Singleton, we got an episode, a little pod I did going to drop here soon about my expectations for Cam Coleman. Spoiler alert. They're really freaking high. I think he's the kind of guy that he could have a terrible quarterback and be productive. Like he's just that. Like Cam Coleman's so good. There's a certain floor that he has. And then we've talked a lot about the interview today Mike did with Hugh, and he said that he thinks the most improved player on the team from last year to this year is Malcolm Simmons. Well, how can I not be fired up about that? We got some dogs in this room, man, and I think they're ready to roll. If the receivers can only do so much, O-line's got to protect. The right call's got to be played, or the right play's got to be called. Then the quarterback's got to get them the ball. So they depend on the rest of the pieces around them more so than probably any other position in football. But boy, oh boy, do we got the horses in this room. When the EA College Football 26 drops, we're going to have some guys ranked low 90s, high 80s, a lot of them, because we got some real NFL talent. I mean, let's Perry, Cam, Eric, Malcolm.
Yep.
I think all 4 of those guys play in the NFL.
Then you got Sam Turner. Who come on?
Oh,
You know,
yeah, I forget. My guy,
you
Sam Turner, who passed up some of those people I just mentioned on the depth chart, apparently. He bought out
Horatio
so hard.
Fields, a nice little get in the transfer portal. And I don't think he's going to have some spectacular blowout year, but I think he could be a nice little depth piece. Look, Cam Coleman's the guy. He's the 5-star, the perennial wide receiver, coming in right down the road and coming into your school and is the most hyped up you've ever been at the receiver position, right? It's time to get active, baby. All right. There is no more KLS out there. All right. It's time for Cam Coleman to take that leap. And I think he will, because you saw it at the end of last year, right? You saw him starting to break out of that shell. And I think there was a little comfort zone that he finally found. And he was like, okay, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Because early on, I think he was just trying to get his feet wet. He was trying to figure some things out. Maybe the game was moving a little too fast, some blocking issues and things like that. Hey, by the end of that thing, he had figured it out.
Yeah.
That catch against Alabama, I saw it the other night on YouTube. I said, dude, that dude is unreal, bro. And how bad is that quarterback? I mean, yeah, I saw that with the subpar Ephesians said he already did that, right? With the subpar QB. Yeah.
He did.
He's just freaky talented, man. And I think he is going to eventually be the guy for Auburn that gets the 1,000-yard mark.
Mm-hmm.
All right, KLS should have been the guy, and they tried in the Iron Bowl. They really did. And he come up 18 yards short, I think, something like that, 28 yards short, something
like 970 or something.
Yeah, it was close. But I think 8 will be the guy that breaks the 1,000-yard mark for Auburn, and that'll be celebrated, and it'll be a big. Just it'll be huge to finally get that one off the back. But look,
981, Blake, 981 last year.
Oh man, 19 yards. That hurts. But look, you go down like the list: Perry Thompson, Eric Singleton Jr. I tell y'all what, I was watching Tootle play basketball at Cottage Hill a couple months ago, and the Auburn coaching staff walks in and they're watching Tootle play basketball. And I looked at Coach Davis and I said, you just keep snagging him out the portal, don't you? He said, boy, he's special. He's special. And I said, man, this Eric Singleton Jr. cat can go. And then I went and flipped on some of the Georgia Tech highlights and I said, whew, man, get him out in space and let him go. Get him on them quick hitters. Hey, them slants, man. Hey, I tell you, one thing that used to make Alabama great, y'all, and I know I always bring up Alabama, but I respect what Saban did and how great they were. And I've lifted them up on that podium because I'm a fan of greatness. And some of their receivers could take a slant and split the safeties and go to the crib 75 yards. And it was just like you were watching a track star. Usain Bolt shot out of a cannon, and you were just like, man, he's gone. And it was one play, bang, and they were 75 yards to the house. And then you look up 3 quarters later, and it's 52-7, and you're like, yeah, they're pretty good, man. I think these guys have the opportunity to be something similar. I don't want to put them on that type of level yet, but I think these guys collectively as a group have the chance to be the greatest receiving core to come out of Auburn. And I think Cam Coleman is the head of that snake there. I think he is going to be. I think people are going to come out at the end of the year with Cam Coleman and say that they would draft him in the NFL draft if he could go.
Yeah.
And that's how special he is. And I see the Ryan versus Cam, and I don't even like getting on that debate because they're 2 completely different receivers. I don't even like talking about it. All right. Because one of them I'm going to take up for one because he's from my city. And the other one plays for Auburn. So I'm kind of torn there a little bit. But I think at the end of the day, they're 2 completely different players. And I don't like making the comparison because I think Cam will have the better NFL career because his body and his frame fits the NFL a little bit better than Ryan's does. But that Ryan Williams fella is absolutely special. And I think him, the kid up at uh, Jeremiah Smith, the kid up at Ohio State, and Cam Coleman are three freakishly talented wide receivers, man.
You're going to look back at that year of high school recruiting wide receivers in the state of Alabama and just in 4 or 5 years and say, boy, that was special.
Yeah.
Because I mean, because those guys, and we got most of them. Ryan was the one guy, and we almost pulled him. He's the one that got away in a little bit of different seasons, right? Where Cam was a little bit slower of a starter, and Ryan started fast, and he faded, and then Cam came on in the second half. They're both great players.
Both were dealing with quarterback problems too.
That's a fact. Yeah, Jalen Monroe and Peyton Thorne.
Yeah, let's see what this year brings. Maybe we can still come back to that discussion.
Yeah. You know, one thing I got to say first is it's becoming apparent to me that Marcus Davis is a solid coach. You know, you never know when you hire former players. Is it a thing where you're just giving a guy a chance because he's a great player at that school when the love that, and all that goes into it. I think he's proven that he's that guy. I mean, Lambert Smith was productive at Penn State, but he wasn't that.
Yeah, he wasn't that guy.
He wasn't that. He just became that. Cam Coleman, super talented guy, but you got to develop him. You got to get him ready. And it was a slow start. He had that run where he did not block well. And I don't listen to a lot of other Auburn media. I can tell you, me and Blake, we took him to the cleaners, boy. I mean, you got to try. And I know we heard it from the coaches and everybody and all that. And from that moment on, man, he was a different player. And the other point I make on that is simply I thought he was used better. I felt like the first half of the season it was, man press on Cam, go deep. But he can run every route. He needs to be getting screens. He needs to be running 3-yard slants and catching them. I know the Cal game and all,
Just give him a hitch every now and then, man.
What the catch versus A&M? He made the one catch. I think it was like an out route where it wasn't a big explosive play. It's a ridiculous catch, and also it's again get him. I see this a lot with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, where it's get him the ball early, get him just if it's a 4-yard gain on a screen. I'm telling you, the Bucs, they are going to throw Chris Godwin a screen the first 2 drives.
Yep.
Whether it works or not, they don't even care. I just get him going, man.
Yep.
Get him going. Everything doesn't have to be over the top with Cam. And when you saw, especially that A&M game, is really the one that stands out to me about how he needs to be used. Short, intermediate, over the top. He can do everything. He can do everything. Yep. And, we do all the recruiting content. And the reason why Cam Coleman is the only player that I've called a 6-star was because of the IQ. Mm-hmm. Because him and Perry, they had all the tools coming out at the same time. Smith, the kid at Ohio State, all the tools. What I see in Cam, bro, is a guy like I'm comfortable saying that he will not only will he be a high draft pick, not only will he be a good NFL player, he will be an all-pro. I mean, as far as injuries and all that kind of stuff, but if everything goes well for him, he will be an all-pro, borderline Hall of Famer. You guys know I don't ever come on here and say stuff like that. That's just the way I feel about it. He's just that guy to me. IQ, body type, hey, like everything's there, dude. Everything is there. I think they're going to see such a massive jump. And the cool thing about it is yes, you lost Keandre Lambert-Smith, but you still went out and got a guy in Eric Singleton. Will he have 981 yards? Will he come up? Will Singleton come up 19 short of 1,000? Probably not. He probably lands somewhere around that 600 to 700 yard range. But man, like that's kind of perfect for Cam Coleman, in my opinion. Because now we're looking at you and we're saying, okay, now you're the number one. Now you're the guy. But it's still not a situation where I'm asking you to do everything. And when Cam Coleman starts eating, fine. Put that extra safety over the top. You really going to let Eric Singleton get free over here? if Malcolm Simmons is taking this big a jump that Hugh Freeze is saying, I saw Malcolm do some screens and some jet sweeps last year. I'm excited about getting to see Malcolm Simmons play actual wide receiver. What does that look like now that he's learned the playbook a little bit better? We've spoke on Perry a lot recently on the show. Like, think he's going to take the next step. Not mad at him. It's a natural progression to me. A true sophomore coming into his own. Good. Probably had a little bit too high expectations for a guy that played running back half the time in his high school, and didn't have a quarterback that could get the ball to him longer than 10 yards down the field. So it makes sense that it's taking Perry this little bit of time. This wide receiver room, dude, is so stacked that, I mean, Blake is Obamanu, Aruma Shadu, Courtney Taylor, that group, that's the best wide receiver group we've seen, right?
Yeah, and that's why I said this one's got the chance to be a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Man. Those guys were some dogs, but they also got an undefeated season and a ring on their fingers. So we'll see, man. We'll see how it all plays out. But I'm excited, and it's the thing is you feel really good when you have the talent at a position and you like the coaching. It's like safety and DB last year. It's like, well, not only do we have the talent, but you also had Charles Kelly and Coach Crime. So you're not shocked whenever injuries happen and you have to start a true freshman in Jalen Crawford. And all of a sudden, the high 4-star guy that every school in the country wanted, that's super talented, combined with the great coach, you get the most out of him. I'm really starting to feel like Marcus Davis is still a young coach in the game. He's still got some stuff to prove, but I feel like he's kind of showing us I can develop guys. And so if we got a coach like that, Hugh Freeze, obviously his offense has a history of producing getting big time production from big time wide receivers. So again, man, we're putting wide receiver as the position group on the Auburn offense that we're most confident in. And I love it, man. I love it. I love the wide receiver position. It's what I played growing up. So I'm really excited to see these guys eat. And I think they're going to eat, and that big play ability. And yeah, we need guys to make clutch plays, man. We need guys to make clutch plays. And I just gotta be honest here. This wide receiver room is better with Robert Lewis not getting the reps that he got. I really don't understand why after the 5th or 6th game last year, why Robert Lewis was even touching the field, much less had the opportunity to drop that ball versus Missouri. So you're going to be better, man. It's going to be better.
I agree 100%. That was a mind-boggling decision, but it hopefully that's last year and it's different this year.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. We've been going for over an hour. You guys have some great comments I wanted to get to, but we're at hour 12 now, so we got to get out of here. What you got, brother?
Tomorrow night, Dustin's episode about Cam Coleman. We'll drop it. Also, tomorrow night, Game 1, Auburn baseball versus South Carolina at home. Looking for a sweep, man. So much potential for this baseball team. TV. National TV on ESPN2, man. Clock in. It's going to be a great night for Auburn sports.
Yeah, man. I've seen a lot of people on social media in our comments being like, man, basketball's over. I miss Auburn sports. It's still happening. You got a top 10 baseball team, man. So tap in, and Blake's doing a great job with all the podcasts covering those guys. So you guys lock in with us. Please hit that thumbs up button, sub to the channel, share this out on social media, all that good stuff. Members, be on the lookout for the latest member content. We love and appreciate every one of you. If you're watching on replay, give us your rankings down there in the comments. Let us know if you agree with us, disagree with us. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you guys later on in the week, man. It's War Damn Eagle, baby.
War Damn, baby.